Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Profit Push Your Business Podcast. I'm your host, Greathouse, and I am so happy to have you here. Today's episode is going to be a solo episode. We're going to talk about why consistency by itself is not enough. So kick back, get ready to move forward. Let me ask you something. Have you ever been consistent, but still felt like you weren't making progress? Like you're showing up, you're doing the work, you're checking the boxes, but nothing actually is changing? Here's the truth most people don't want to admit. Consistency alone is not enough, because if you're consistent at the wrong things, you're not just stuck, you're reinforcing the problem. We've been told this idea forever. Just be consistent. Don't get me wrong, consistency matters, but here's what's missing. Consistency only works when it's applied to the right actions. Otherwise, you're just really good at staying in the same place. Let me paint an analogy for you. Think about basketball for a second. For a long time in my past, I played a lot of pickup basketball, so I really know about this. So let's say someone goes to the gym every single day. They shoot 100 free throws a day. They're super consistent, disciplined even, committed even, but they're doing it with bad form. Wrong stance, wrong release, bad follow through. What happens? They don't get better. They just stay consistent at doing it wrong. And over time, that bad form becomes even harder to fix. That's exactly what's happening to so many people. They're posting content, but not strategically. They're working long hours, but not on needle movers, things that actually will move them forward. They're starting over every Monday with no real system. They're consistent, but they're not aligned. And what happens eventually? They burn out. Not because they're lazy, but because deep down, they feel like this just isn't working. So let's get to the real problem. The real problem isn't consistency. It's lack of clarity on what actually moves the needle. Most people don't know what the right actions are. They don't know if they're on track. They don't get real-time feedback. They don't adjust fast enough. So they default to, I'm just going to keep going. But direction matters more than effort. So what actually works is this: consistent execution of the right actions. That means knowing what your 90-day target is, identifying what your needle movers are towards that 90-day target, adjusting when something isn't working, getting feedback when you drift too far, because if you can't correct quickly, you don't waste weeks or even months going the wrong direction. And honestly, this is exactly why we built the Goal Getting app the way we did. Not as another productivity tool, but as an execution system. Because most tools give you a list and say, good luck, right? So, but what people actually need is clarity on the right actions, not just tasks, but what actually matters right now. That's where things like the built-in AI advisor, inside the Goal Getting app, the execution prompts, the structured planning, the live calls, we'll get into workshops as well in a minute. That's where all that comes in. It helps you avoid that free throw with bad form problem. Because let's be real, sometimes you don't need another checklist. You need someone to kick you in the butt and say, hey, you're focusing on the wrong thing. That's why our live calls matter so much. They catch drift early. They bring you back into alignment fast. So this is really cool. This part has been really interesting. The workshops inside the app, people keep saying that hit exactly when I needed it. And it's not random, because when you're actively executing, you're more aware of where your gaps are. So when the right insight shows up, it just clicks. And you can actually apply it immediately. So if you're feeling stuck right now, I want you to ask yourself this: am I just being consistent, or am I being consistent at the right things? Because that's the difference between motion versus progress, effort versus result, starting over versus actually moving forward. If you want help with that, that's exactly what we built inside the Goal Getting app. Not more noise, not more tasks, but a system that actually helps you execute the right things consistently and actually see progress. Because at the end of the day, it's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters again and again, the right way. So I'm going to close with my usual close here. Keep moving forward, but let's add an addendum to that. Keep moving forward on the right things. Let me ask you something. How many goals have you set that just slowly faded out?
It's not because you lack motivation. It's not because you're lazy. It's because you don't have a system for execution. That's exactly why we built the Goal Getting app, the execution system for Christian entrepreneurs who are done drifting. Inside the app, you don't juggle 10 goals. You lock in one clear 90-day focus. Then we help you break it into weekly needle-moving actions, stay consistent with daily execution, and actually follow through, even when life gets busy. This isn't about doing more. It's about finally finishing what you start. Clarity, execution, momentum. If you're ready to stop drifting and actually move forward, go to goalgetting.app/reset and lock in your next 90 days today.
Thanks for checking out the Profitable Christian Business Podcast. Remember to like, subscribe, and share.